Sorry, buddy. Those are a little too small for me, bud. They look like they fit you better.
Okay, can I have everyone's attention? Just so if you don't want your voice recorded, don't stand super close to the iPad. It'll also still pick up your voice, so if you don't want your voice recorded, you shouldn't talk. And that's not hopefully the goal of being here. It is to be able to have a recording that we can send off to the congregation members who are not here or weren't able to make it. But yeah, that is not videoing anyone per se. Like your face won't be on there. It's pointed up at the TV. So again, if you didn't, get Hollywood ready, you don't have to worry about that. Thank you for coming. Continue to grab food or whatnot for that. Getting excited for here. I just want to give a little preface that, these meetings are interesting. Every time that we've had a congregational meeting in general, someone in my family gets sick. But in particular, one that I feel like I get most excited about and have potential to just, again, glorify God in extreme ways. If we think of the meeting that we had when we voted to leave the RCA to move to the Sending Network, I actually was up here with strep throat after just a day on antibiotics, and so that was an awful day for me. This week, like everything hit the fan from Wednesday on for me. Levi's homesick. He might be here because Mallory's supposed to be in the nursery, so we'll figure things out. But if he is up here, he'll be secluded. We'll quarantine him. But that, between Mallory being gone for a conference, between just life, like it's one of those things though that Satan likes to disrupt important things, and that's been a big thing on my mind of like Bethany Church. It excites me a lot of what's going on, what we're doing, various changes for things, and this excites me a lot today too, especially just because you've been in the loop for this when we presented first to get more feedback, to get feedback again, and just really excited what we have to present today. Again, it just comes down to I think this is a good thing. I think the leadership believes this is a good thing. Satan, I think, knows it's a good thing. And so I think that's why I'm, just attacks and other things. And I believe that we will do our best to present it to you. Just know that, again, there's been some disruptions and Satan's trying to derail things. So with that, let's pray. Almighty God, we come here to celebrate hard work from the long-range vision team to for the work that they've done, for the ideas presented before, we thank you for the congregation for having given feedback on multiple occasions to help tweak these ideas and these plans and the excitement growing within this. God, we thank you for all of that work that's been put into this. We thank you for this day to be able to present what we believe is a good step forward for the continual mission of the church to seek, share, and serve, but to also just make room for hospitality, make room for grace, make room for the gospel, make room for community. And God, we pray these things because we're excited for what you're doing, what you've done in this church, what you're doing in the lives of the people here, what you're doing with this building and its use, the community grounds that we have and its use. We thank you for everything. God, we do ask for a layer of protection here because, again, I believe Satan has ideas that this is a good thing too. And that there's been some disruptions this week. There's been some attacks to hopefully derail some of this stuff. And God, we just pray that, again, your protections here, that we present in a good way, that we can answer questions to the best of our abilities, and those things that need to be asked or tweaked will be asked and tweaked for the future, God. Again, we come here to celebrate the many things you've lined up, the mission of the church that you are leading us on, and the celebration that we know that victory is won, you lead us forward, and you cannot fail. God, we pray this in your name. Amen.
I'm just going to give a little bit of history about how we got to where we're at today. We started out, this is probably, I mean, the year's wrong, but around 2013, 2014, hiring a consultant to come in and look at how we can do a better job and how we can revitalize the church. Numbers were declining. We had people leaving more so than coming in, and we were looking at what can we do, looking at ourselves from a different perspective perhaps. So we hired a consultant to come in. That consultant came in, we met over 3 days, pretty much all afternoon on a Friday, all day Saturday, and most of the day on Sunday. We did that actually a couple different times where we hired the same consultant to come back in later on in like 2017. So we've come a long way. During those times of revitalization and talking about where we've been and where we need to go, we set some pretty focused goals on how we can get there. Some of the things came out from that. We started working on revitalizing the church, a commitment to what God's doing with us in the hearts of the people here in the church and in the community. We worked through prayer, dedication to following what God's call is for this church. There was a lot of time spent in leadership in prayer before we made any decisions. We also, change isn't easy. God's looking for greater growth in us, and you know that's where we need to come in and be in prayer for where we're going forward. I'm excited and have been excited over the last several years with the direction that Bethany's going through all of the different meetings that I've been in, and I've been involved in a lot of them. I haven't been involved in all of them, but there's sometimes differing opinion, and we talk through that to try and make the best decision that we can make for our church and for basically the community, and work in the way that God wants us to work. So I'm going to walk through kind of where we've been from a update perspective of the building. So in phase one, a lot of you have been around here and know this, but I'm just going to give a summary for those that haven't. We updated this space here, our gathering space, and our worship center. We made a lot of updates to, we took out pews to make the place more flexible. We added chairs. We renovated by painting the building on the inside. So all the walls got painted in here in the gathering space and down the hallways. We redid the carpet up on the stage, made the stage more presentable. We did some additional painting afterwards to darken it up for video purposes. Flooring, all the flooring that you see throughout the building is all the same. And so we replaced all that flooring. We moved the sound booth, so if you don't remember, the sound booth was across the back here, about the back, maybe 2/3. And we moved it over to the side to make the space more presentable and useful for us. This allows us to do sports banquets. We did a winter carnival where we had inflatables in the worship center. A lot of different things like that we've done for the community. We had bad weather, we moved the trunk or treat inside, and we had the flexibility to do that. I think that was all in God's plan for us to do that, because we would not have been able to have a trunk or treat that year had we not had the space to be able to do that. We would not have been able to fit everybody into this small room. We were able to do games and activities in the space for Wednesday nights when we can't be outside. So that was a huge blessing to be able to do that. And then COVID hit. We had already started doing video and started recording our sermons. That had been done for quite a while, but we needed to step the game up during COVID to be able to reach everybody in the congregation during that time where we couldn't gather here together. So that was a huge thing. We invested a lot into live streaming software and cameras to be able to make that a presentable piece. And then most recently we had the lobby project, which was phase 2 of our investment into this church and this space for community. We now have a nice lobby, a nice open lobby space with a lot of light coming in. Looks more modern. We have a coffee bar where people can stand and gather and enjoy time together. A space for community and fellowship. So we have this space over here. You can have a small group and be right out here where you can see what's going on in the parking lot. Some of this is done for safety reasons too. Some of the updates that we did were for safety, and that was one of the things, so that we don't have to meet back in a room and worry about what's happening up front for people to be able to come in. We invested in the murals along the hallway over there in the education wing and the office area. And then just helping the kids when they come in to be able to see that and understand that space. And that's really comes to us making room for hospitality and generosity. That's what this space all is. And that's kind of going to be the theme for the next phases that we have, is making room for different things. So we've done a lot of work here on the inside of the building. We've done some work on the outside, so the sign had changed to make it more modern, take away some of the things that people don't utilize anymore. Most people, when they come to a church, are going to look to see what time services are, who the people are involved by looking at the website. The changing of the sign out there was a huge improvement to let them know who Bethany is. Plus, we needed to update the church name at the same time. We updated our church logo with meaning. So our church logo is all different. So those are a lot of the things that we've done to make this space welcoming for guests. Everything that we've done is for our guests. Some of the things that we've done, we get to benefit from as a congregation. It's all done for our guests that come in to make the space more presentable, more useful for them. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jacob, and he can talk about kind of where we come from that and some of the blessings that we've had as well.
So not everyone knows that, there's one of these sheets of paper that's on, there's several of these sheets of paper. If it's too small for you, there is a large print copy in the middle. It's not super large print, so yeah, have your neighbor read it to you. It does offer a little bit of a timeline of kind of how things have progressed. So back in the fall, early fall of 2023, we were approached. It was just some of the mentoring that I've had with City Network churches, approached by Third Church in particular, saying, hey, what are some of the big things that Bethany would love to do, just doesn't have the money for, that would directly enhance your ministries? Now, he's very particular, saying, well, this isn't just, you have a negative balance in your budget or from this year, so then you just wipe that out. It's not hire a staff member. It's not Pastor Jacob gets a cruise ship bonus or whatever. It was, what are some things that would enhance the ministries that we would love to do, just we don't have the funding for it. And so, me thinking, let's run through this fast. Let's get, we've had these dreams about various things and what seems like a decent number. We don't want to ask for too much because we're Dutch and we don't ask for help for things. Or maybe I'm Dutch and we don't ask for help for things. So we kind of came up with a gracious proposal to Third at first, just by some of the ideas that everyone had, because there was some crowdsourcing, but it wasn't a lot. And thinking, okay, this is a good thing. Third goes, no, you need to go back, you need to pray this over, and you need to dream bigger. Which is, again, scary. Of okay, well, how big are you talking? And so, early spring of, it was April of last year, we said, hey, congregation if there were things that, and we said, yeah, if finances weren't an issue, like what would you dream about? And you gave us a long list, gazebo, playground, ball field, walking path, gym, multi-purpose room. You did say staff members, parking lot lights, outdoor recreation for community gathering, and a coat rack. Well, just to let you know, we did get a coat rack back around the wall, and parking lot lights actually were updated last December. If you've been here at all during the evening, especially during winter, you can see that it is lit up out there. The first thing I said to Mallory is that less shenanigans are going to happen because of it's so lit up. But yeah, so a couple, easy wins that we were like, okay, coat rack and parking lot lights are more, like we need to make sure that our church itself invests in who we are and our property. So we didn't want to use that for any kind of grant money, but we did take those ideas that you had, and we did a lot of work. A lot of quotes, a lot of outside meetings, trying to meet with people, various conversations around. So then that's when last summer, if you were around, we came out with kind of our dream 15-year plan of saying, hey, in the next 15 years, we would like, the shelter house, maybe a rec field, walking path, various things that you had said, and the big multi-purpose room dream that's been a dream here since the 60s, 70s, since the inception of Bethany in this location. You can look at an old site plan. Anyway, I'm done. So within all that, we said this is our big 15-year plan for, I think it came out to about $800,000. And then talking with more people, because you gave more feedback, you gave more insights, well, how could we tweak some of these things? How could we tweak other things? And then, again, long range vision team came back. So that's summer of last year. And then this past fall, again, it's been more quotes, more gathering of information. It's talking with a few consulting companies of okay, how do we do a big capital campaign? What can we do? A lot of the documents that you see are borrowing of ideas from other places. I just ate 3 donut holes, or 4. But it's trying to how do we present information well for you? How do we communicate well? How do we make a good plan going forward and to be able to present that to you? So a lot of work, and I know it ends there at fall. We're back into almost spring, or at least it felt like spring last week. But with a lot of excitement, and what we would say is a plan moving forward. And so to move that, again, this is phase 3. This is saying that everything that we've done since before me is all kind of coming together, and we're all moving towards the same things. We just want to give you a rundown of the projects that we have determined for phase 3. I can say it's all of the projects except for the gym or multi-purpose room, which would be phase 4 and our still proposed phase 4. So that's exciting too, to be able to this is what we had said, this is what you had brought ideas for, and kind of could encompass it in the next year. So like Bob said, make room. We're making room for people, community, for hospitality, for grace, for love. One of the ideas, these are not exact replica or drawings per se. It is, we think, close. It is one of those things that I don't want to pay $1,000 for some artist to come in and draw it out for me. So, again, one of the big things in phase 3 would be this shelter house in between the basketball court and the playground. We're looking at a 40 by 30 structure, large enough to hold any gatherings or potlucks if we want to do that. If it's raining or other things, it also offers a place for anyone within our neighborhood and our neighbors to come and be able to get out of the shade when their kids play at the playground. We host basketball team. What?
Get out of the sun.
Get out of what'd I say?
Get out of the shade.
I told you it's a week. Good day to get out of the shade. We're listening. The high school football team uses our building every Thursday night during the football season for their banquets. Even throwing ideas around with them. They were like, yeah, that'd be great to be able to host a few of their dinners outside so that the kids can just eat and play basketball like they do currently. It just offers another location for them. I'm going to go through these a little quick because we want to be done with the presentation part in 5 minutes so that you can have questions. 6 minutes now. We want to update some of our playground. If you've been here before, again, way before me, our playground was designated for a preschool audience. Now, we're not looking at a commercial kind of system. Now, we are crowdsourcing, and there's a lot of playgrounds that get taken down at schools because they just want different things. Again, so like right now, we're giving you a good faith proposal, but if all of a sudden, for the same cost that we can get a commercial system, just know that we might deviate a little bit. But we think a rainbow system or something similar would be good. There's a couple of different options that we're looking at. State fair time is a great time to get discounts and sales too. We're just going to be mindful of kind of all those things coming up, but we want to make sure our playground is accessible for more than just preschool age. So that would be a revamping of our kind of called the clubhouse type thing with the slide. That's also losing a lot of metal, or it's coating on the metal, getting a little rusty. Bees love it. We've had to spray some foam in different places, but it's about time to be replaced. And so that looks like one of our best options. We're also wanting to put in a bay of swings, set of swings. Talk about different ways that you want to say that. We're looking to put in some swings for some older children as well, knowing that, again, right now we have a lot of preschool equipment. When looking at maybe one of those rainbow systems or whatnot, they often have swings attached too. Can make that maybe more of the infant swings, so that the infant swings are not necessarily with the other bigger swings or it's out of the way. Again, just trying to be hospitable to the people in our community to come and use those spaces. I'm going to go this way so I can see. This is, again, the original. We had Snyder Corp give us kind of a rundown of what a site plan will look like. The reason why this picture is up here is not to still include like hospital. This pointer doesn't work. On the far left, there's a possible retention pond taking out of some parking, etc. That's not what I'm here to show you. On the right, you see on the top right, it says 1/4 mile walking path. That would be kind of the basic outline that would be. We're talking about a gravel path out there, kind of encompasses the property. So that, again, if you have kids playing on the playground, you'll be able to see that from that whole thing. It kind of keeps it out of the way of other stuff, but it uses our grounds kind of in a better way. There's no sidewalks in the area if you live in the area. A lot of people complain that they can't walk, especially on 52nd Avenue. I don't know if you know that, that's our address. No one likes our road because it gets really narrow east of here. And it would offer a place that could offer some recreation, some different things for people. One of the other ideas that came up was a disc golf course. We have talked with, he's actually another pastor, to talk about a design and what that would look like. I know some of you may not be like, well, what's that? I don't want to say frisbee golf, but that's the best way to say it. But again, it was the ideas of there's what is in this community to offer some recreation, to use our space well, that is kind of low maintenance, and be able to, again, provide a spot that people can go. I know that last Sunday, we were on our way to the ice rink for Levi's skating lessons, and yeah, we drove past the disc golf course, and there were like 30 people out there, and there was still snow on the ground. Just warm enough that it was melting, but it's a popular thing and could offer, just again, another safe place for people around here to go and do something like that. Everyone's big question is break down the cost of things. It's pretty much itemized. There's some signs, permits. We are looking at putting a sidewalk from this front old preschool door, if that makes sense to you, or this front walk path all the way out to the shelter house. There we go. And yeah, we're still getting some other quotes. We have a quote get some other quotes for electric as well. Total cost for all of this, we are looking at $75,000. As we announced last year, is that we have received a grant for $150,000 from Third Church, and the long range vision team has discussed that and prayed over it. Of like, we would like to designate some funds to this, but also some funds for phase 4. Now, we could just say we want to write the check and just take it out of the grant funding straight up. As easy as that would be, and as convenient as that would be, if you think of phase 1 and phase 2 in here, the primary benefit is Bethany church members, or Bethany congregation, Bethany people who worship here, Wednesday night families. It is a direct benefit for those who are here. Now, it is a benefit for, again, trunk or treat and other hosting and generosity and hospitality opportunities. This project, this phase, does enhance our current ministries, but it also has a direct benefit for the community as well. And unlike hosting trunk or treat here, where we tell the community, hey, you got to come here to enjoy this in our building, those spaces don't have to be tied to an event that we're doing. They can come up on a Tuesday afternoon. We got some daycares in the area, some Wednesday night family from the daycares show up midweek. They have older kids as well. So like it's something that can be used there. Just yesterday there was a family playing basketball. Actually, as our leadership hung out one Saturday morning, there was a group of kids hanging out on our property and just playing. Like, our property gets used, and so those kind of things in these facilities have a direct benefit for things in our community. There's not a shelter house close by. Margot Franco's the closest. The next closest are like, what?
Saylorville.
Yep, Saylorville. That's what I was going to say. About said Sadell, but I'm stumbling on my words for some reason this morning. Steve's going to preach for me now. But so again, phase 3 does have this direct benefit for the community, as well as enhancing our ministry that we're currently doing as well. And so, so what we wanted to do is put 50% of that of the total that we want for phase 3 from the grant money that we have, because we believe that the community in general, and we're working on solidifying a plan for that. Through fundraising, we believe that the community will get on board with this. And I say that as well as like disc golf, like the disc golf course. We're coming up with a plan to get business buy-in to maybe sponsor a whole advertisement for them, and us being able to say, hey, these partners in mission in this community supported this. Now we would be selective. It's not going to be Bedford Sports or other things, Lumberyard, not going to be those kind of things, Prairie Meadows. Yeah, we're going to look for local businesses that have buy-in to this community. And we're still solidifying that plan, but we're really excited about that opportunity. We're continuing to reach out to other companies. One of the things, I guess I didn't throw up on it as a picture, is we want to refurbish the basketball hoops and put adjustable basketball hoops out there, so that like yesterday there was a 5 to 8 year old, there was actually 2 of them, about 5 to 8 years old, can't shoot at a 10-foot hoop. And so even for our kids on Wednesday night, having a hoop that can be adjusted would be beneficial. And you change the game for them a little bit. But your goal setter has offered us 15% discount on that. I have a friend at Dutchman Disc. It's a disc golf company in Pella who can get us a discount on like the disc golf course stuff. Cindy Network has offered some sweat equity to maybe find some cost savings here or there. And so we're excited. We're excited about a lot of these things. One thing that I've always been told though is that Bethany has always risen up for a challenge. And I feel like God is challenging us with this. I'm excited for where we're at. I'm thankful for Bob being able to tell the story of before me and part of me, that transition time. I'm excited that, there was comments and ideas, and that you dream big too. And I believe that this is where we're at. Last thing I will say though is that we do, I was like 2 minutes off. We do have comment cards on the table that we want you to give us feedback, but also we want to spend this time and ask for questions. Another 30 seconds though. Am I missing anything, long range vision team? Which is Josh, Doug, Bob, and Henry. So you're gonna hit the hiccups. Bonnie.
First of all, I love the idea, I'm for it, and I appreciate all the work you put into it. My question is, have you contacted insurance to see if when you have more people here, it increases the risk? Have you contacted insurance or not? Would we be covered?
So there's always gray area, and the person with the bigger lawyer or more expensive lawyer will often win. Anyone can come onto our property for one and just trip over something and call negligence. We have talked to insurance companies, changing things. We asked even about like the changing of the surface of the playground stuff because sand is out actually. And we did some of that kind of stuff. No, there's not going to be. Now, there's also those caveats in there. If we post on Facebook, hey, anyone can use this, like, then we are inviting people onto our property versus we have it, people know about it, word of mouth being like, oh yeah, hey, if you're looking for a playground, Bethany has one. There's a difference between us broadcasting a big sign saying, come use our property. That opens us up more than if you just say, hey, your daycare, just come over and use the playground. Like, yeah, you don't speak on behalf of the church board. Now, I value your feedback. But yeah, no, the insurance isn't going to, doesn't increase or anything. Now, again, they could be lying through their teeth as well. But when they came and Henry and I were walking around with the person, they didn't care about the outside. No. Like, it was, water leakage, possibility, roof damage. They didn't care about the playground and the liability side. I mean, they cared, but not about the improvements we were suggesting.
And it's nice our new carrier, we were able to email them on a walking path in the playground, and he said, no worries, we don't mind at all. Whereas like our old one, it was hard to even talk to anybody.
No, good question.
I really like the idea that, we have that grant. I was thinking about the Carnegie libraries where, hey, you raise half, I'll give you the other half. Let's do that, and let's take that money for phase 4. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I think from the long-range vision committee standpoint, when we were talking together about this and trying to determine how to do this, that it was really important because we've talked about this multi-purpose building for so many years. Ever since I've been here, it's been talked about, and it was long before I came. We just feel that part of long-range vision is that we want to make sure we get to this point. So we've set out plans for what do we want to do in this phase 3 and how fast do we want to get it done. And then what realistically would it take for us to get the funds together to do a multi-purpose facility? What options do we have? And if we put it down on paper and we communicate it to you that that's what we're gonna do, that's what we're gonna do. We feel that is an important piece to this ministry that we do here. Our ministries, ever since I've been here, have revolved around the kids in the community. That's the basic ministry that we have, and we don't have a space where we can effectively do ministry in the winter when our primary ministry is happening. So we feel very important that we get that phase going. And the only way we can do that is if we have the seed money to start it. Obviously the seed money doesn't cover everything, covers just a fraction of it, but that's where we as a congregation and the community need to come together. If it's something we really want, we need to put money where our mouth is on that as a congregation, and then the community, with it being something we're using for ministry to the community, if we can get that community buy-in, we can reach that goal in a reasonable time. So that was an important reason why we move to this splitting 50-50 on this phase.
Which I know in talking to a few people midweek this week, because they couldn't be here, talking about how, well, what if we raise extra? It would go into the phase 4 funding. Yeah, there wouldn't be like a reimbursement check unless you demanded it. But it would go into the phase 4 funding.
And I will say with the investment that the members of this church have made in phase 1 and phase 2, that well surpassed what I thought we would get. So I think that God's working in all of us to do the things that we've done. And I think, you know, if we see the space that we have now, I know that there were some people who, my wife was one of them, that did not want to take pews out. She thought that was a waste of money and something that she cherished was the pews. And she has fully embraced that herself. We've talked about it a couple, we had several not good discussions beforehand, and we've had several good discussions after. I think that sometimes we get comfortable where we're at with what we have, and I think God is pushing us to get outside of our comfort zone, sometimes even financially to get outside of our comfort zone to do some of these things. And what we see around us is a fruition of that. So I'm thankful to the congregation for what we've done and the support that we've had financially to do it, but not only that, but just the people to do it, because a lot of this was done with just church member labor. We had very little that we farmed out to somebody else to do. So we do have the capabilities to be able to function with this. This is a little bit different project, although we do have some members that are able to help us with some of these pieces as well. I do also want to mention Heather was part of this. She's got way too many things on her plate, part of this Future Vision Committee. Actually headed it up for quite a while, so I don't want her to be left out in that too. I know that Pastor mentioned the 4 of us that are involved ongoing, but Heather was pretty integral in getting that started as well, so thank her for that. This is the most quiet.
As a suggestion, I was thinking, when I was a scoutmaster, one of the scouts for his Eagle Leadership Service project was created a disc golf course down at Waterworks Park. I believe it's still down there. That's some of the projects around here, we could have young scout take the lead on that, their service project, and we can come alongside, they can bring in their help, and they could also do a little bit of fundraising, so it'd be a good opportunity to develop.
No, thanks for that idea. I know that we had talked about other things, and I know that like, because this north fence line, we do have it itemized, not north tree line, I've been told, tree line. We want to save some of our old trees. It's getting pretty overgrown, and we'll clean up some space for the disc golf stuff. But it was said, well, hey, we have good relationship with the football team or the community. Can we ask for help with that? And I said I would rather use like the Sending Network sweat equity or our own sweat equity for the clearing out a little more mundane project. And I would rather invite the community for a creation project. Like of the building of the disc golf, of the helping set more concrete or whatever for basketball hoops, helping do the other things that are more creative or creating, so that they see a product, not just, oh, you're using me because you don't want to get into the poison ivy and other things in the north fence line, tree line. What?
Good call.
Yeah.
Will the volleyball court area be gone then because of how the disc golf office and?
No, it'll still be there. Henry has been, refurbishing that, cleaning up the sand over and over, like last summer. And it's getting pretty good. We need to go in with the blowtorch, Ryan, and get rid of all the sand burrs and other things and burn those up. And then probably till again and then reburn it, just to get those out because it was overgrown. But it's actually starting to look pretty nice. But no, these things just still encircle it.
Okay.
So
when we have, our outdoor movie nights,
yep.
there's still a good space where we can park, drive, are we still gonna be able to drive up there to have a drive-in theater? Or I'm just thinking of, we don't wanna drive over a disc golf course, but, I don't know, or a walking path. Just something to think about, I just didn't know where we come from this way.
No,
I just wanna make sure we have a space, because those are fun events to have.
Yep, so those some things will be able to be had.
Okay.
I mean, it'll be, we're gonna not
Okay.
figure out, but
Okay.
probably would designate a place to drive over and walk through that and stuff. But otherwise, we're trying to keep that green space open too, not really put anything in the middle of it.
Got it.
So yeah, that there's still those opportunities. One of it, you'll see like in the bottom, there's signage. Again, I know the disc golf designer is a pastor, and he was talking about like, how would you design this? And he goes, I would start hole 1 over there and hole 9 over here, so that they have to walk in front of your building. And he goes, it'd be a good place to put like an outdoor kind of announcement board, so you can put events on, and they have to walk past it, see things like that. And so there will be times that we have to say, on Friday, October, let's not pick 7, Bethany Church is hosting a movie night, disc golf is closed, or whatever.
Okay.
It'll be too dark for it anyway.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yep.
Thank you.
Judy,
I'm back here in the
Sorry.
corner with the noisy kids, I'm sorry. But I wanted you to know that when you threw that playground and the swings up there, they were paying attention. And got very excited, especially over the swings. So hit me on the shoulder and said, Grandma Jay, look. So there's 3 of them back here, but I think you're on the right track. Because where kids are, their parents are gonna follow.
yep,
And that caught their attention.
thank you. Yeah,
Carl Sandberg was sitting beside me too earlier, and she said, I think we need to upgrade the playground area. She's like, it's not really fun for the older kids, but they have to go out there and just having stuff for them makes a big difference too. Sometimes I feel like Brooklyn, Linda, Emmy, there's kind of stuff here sometimes with us.
yep.
And having that space be something that they can do would be a lot better for them. But I also have a question in regards to the playground equipment, the rainbow play system versus commercial. How long is like the longevity of both pieces? Because like, I know we have a rainbow play system in our front yard. And because of trees and all this stuff, like there's sap and all that stuff that gets on it and it grows mold because it's the wood. It obviously doesn't last as long as like the commercial side at our house. So I don't know how that would be affected here. And like, is the cost difference worth it? Like, that's just kind of.
Yeah, so does anyone know when the preschool equipment was installed?
It's been here for
What?
the preschool equipment, that's been there since
I fundraised for that preschool equipment when Joey was in preschool.
Wow,
Just-
long time.
Plus years?
Yeah.
25 years? Yeah, so when we were discussing that, the commercial sets that we had been quoted at were in the range of like 60 to 100,000. It was like the 60 for just the stuff, and then it was pretty expensive for them to come in and demo our stuff, which they told us they'd work with us. So probably 60 to 75,000 would have been like them putting it all in. And yeah, it'll last. I mean, because even this stuff, yeah, it's like the rubberized coating needs to be like either redone, which we also can't find out how to do that online. So there's some secret vendor out there for that. But so with that aspect, but like, so the sets that were up there, both of those run in like the 6,500, I think, to 7,000 range. I think it was like 6,200 actually, which, sorry, I'm nickel and diming, I'm Dutch. You know? But the idea within that is that, like, if we replace this in like 3 times, like every 10 years for 30 years, we still come out under the commercial set, and that was what we're kind of thinking. I didn't think about the trees. You guys have more trees than we do, but but yeah, it'll be something that Henry's got to put on his property list, and that we'll probably have to reseal and yeah, make sure it stays good.
Who had that question?
Danielle.
Danielle, I agree with Danielle. That's my biggest concern is the wood. But hence the discretion of we're going to try to see what other options we can look at to try to bring in commercial.
Is there options for, like you said, like used commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look at those options. Like I said, there's places getting rid of them all the time, so we talked about that as part of our group. I will say the rainbow systems, I actually went over last spring and took down a rainbow system that was out in Panorama for my son. They had an aunt that was getting rid of theirs that had it from when their kids were grade school all the way up. It was a pretty heavy duty one. We took that apart, and it was in a shaded area. It had stuff all over it. It looked terrible. We took it apart, moved it to his house, put it back up, and pressure washed it and sealed it. It looks like a brand new system. We had to replace a couple of pieces that were on the ground. So they will last a long time if you take care of them. If you seal them once in a while, they will last for a really long time. The stuff that makes contact with the ground is the stuff that doesn't last as long. This stuff would have been technically a 0.4 CCA treatment, and there's a 0.6 CCA that's ground contact that would last longer. This was 0.4, we put in 0.6, so it should last a long time for my son and daughter-in-law at their property. But it looked like brand new stuff, and it was at least 15, 20 years old. So we pressure washed it, sealed it, and it looks great. So it will last a while. The other part of that is it's going to be in the sun all the time, so some of the things, like if you have a canopy over top, that's probably going to have to be replaced. Quick, easy replacement to do that, but there are things that you can do to make those last longer.
Along with that, when Katie and Anna were really young, we went to go look for one of those. The lady at the Home Depot store said, "I'm not supposed to say this, but we have a used one we want to get rid of. It's free. All you have to do is haul it away." She said free, and I had so borrowed a trailer, went there, we took all the bolts out, moved it to the house, got it put up. Kids played with it for years. Finally, our neighbors asked where we got ours, and we were like, we're ready to get rid of ours. So we threw it over the fence to them, they used it, they moved to another house, they moved it there. It's still being used, and I have no idea how old it is, but it's,
And that one wasn't even a rainbow, it was,
I don't
know what brand.
yeah,
but
it
it's
wasn't
like-
that. The only thing that happened was there was a few pieces of wood that got replaced. And every couple of years I power washed or kind of cleaned it. I didn't even reseal it, I just, and I had to replace one of the slides, so.
How much did you get out of your neighbor?
I gave it to him for free. Because I didn't have to haul it away. Yeah, I was like, I gotta haul this away, throw it away, I'm saving money, so. And they just lifted it over the fence, so. They did all the work, I didn't have to do anything, so I was happy. So ours lasted long and it wasn't a rainbow one, and replacing a piece of wood every 10 years isn't gonna be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
We start next week, that's
We have done some of the groundwork. I mean, we've at least applied for a permit for the shelter house just because we would like to be on a schedule. If, like, yeah, no one's yelled at me yet, so I'm happy about that. But, yeah, like, we knew that was gonna be a part of it, and yeah, we're still working with the county.
I think it's a great idea, I really do. And there's an awful lot of unused space. Let's use it.
That's the hope, again, just being faithful to what God has given. Yeah, been given a grant to dream like this, and yeah, I know that year and a half almost of me, I'm just tired, not tired of it, like I'm excited, but yeah, it's feedback, and I'm thankful for all you for giving that feedback, and what about this tweak, and what about that tweak, and there's going to have to be learning from things too with, yeah, the shelter house out there. We're considering like what is a rental system so that, yeah, someone doesn't want to do a grad party there and then someone else like jumps in just because, or maybe we want to do something. So we've talked about what dates we have to block off, probably Wednesdays and yeah, different Sundays that we do things and whatnot. So, Tammy.
What about lighting, like the basketball court and the picnic area? Would there be lighting so that people could use it in the evening or at night?
We are looking at that. That was part of that electric there. We're considering that. It's interesting because our closest fuse panel is that one, but then it goes right across our laterals, which the electrician doesn't want, or like, or probably can't permit for. I don't know about the whole logistics of that. So we talked about like that north side and running it. That's the extra wire. We are discussing that. We do want outlets at minimum for like things. But yeah, lights, yeah. That is part of this actual quote is lights and outlets. There have been discussions too on doing all this stuff of getting some LED lights that will shine the basketball court, but those lights will also do a good job once they warm up. You guys, question? No.
You mentioned some projects that would be almost purely sweat equity,
Yep.
cleaning up the trees, etc. How soon is that going to start?
So, the north fence line, north tree line is gonna get done no matter what, because it just needs to get done, otherwise we're gonna lose a lot of our nice old trees. Henry has been working on a plan for that, to get that going. Part of it too, we wanna, if we do that, which we want to, we would have to cut things down, and you want it to be maybe starting to grow and starting to do things so that when we spray it, it absorbs the things that keep it from growing again. But soon. Those things will start soon. I know Josh talked about, yeah, the ability to start flattening the land for like the shelter house, and that would be this spring. We would want ideally, we want the shelter house done mid-May to June. So. With, like, there's no specific timeline to things too. Like, we want to get things done quickly, but it's not going to be, everything's going to line up perfectly, and on June 14 at 1 p.m., everything is done. It's not going to be like that. Again, we're going to keep looking, keep talking to those reps about the playground equipment, and because they get some that are returned, oh, it was the wrong shade of blue, and whatnot. My last 2 minutes of things. Being passed out whoa, you guys are fast. You're efficient. It's a pledge card. So we want to take the next year to do this and to fundraise for it. And again, the plans for kind of our community engagement, fundraisers, and business partnerships are still getting kind of finalized. But there's a pledge card, and we're asking that, like, so there's a card on the table as well. Again, the note card, I said if you have questions, we want you to take a couple weeks. And March 16, we would like to have like pledge cards back or those note cards back, because the team still wants to hear from you. Like, nothing's like, we've already signed off, we've written the check, yeah, it's too late now. Like, this is still if you have comments or questions or concerns or other things, we want to hear from you, because that'll go to the long-range vision team, and back to our leadership board. And so it's still kind of like, this is our best foot forward, our proposal, and essentially your response is with these comment cards and the pledge cards. This money has been earmarked for it. There's no indebtedness for the church. If we don't move forward with stuff like this, we probably should write Third a check back and say thank you, but we're not going this direction, because that's what it's for. It's for these things. And so we're excited. We're excited for, what this means, what this can mean for the church. But those pledge cards and comment cards are asking March 16. We understand that's spring break as well. So if you need more time, let us know. But would like to be able to regroup as a long-range vision team to see that, know if we have your support, and how we can progress after that.
So when we fill these out, do we put them in the donation box?
Yeah, the donation box would be great, or you can hand them to a leadership team member. Steve, do you want to close us out in prayer?
Yes.
Father, thank you for this gathering. Thank you that we can meet together to talk about kingdom work. And thank you for being here. I know that you have been here because you promised to be. So thank you for leading us and guiding us, showing us a future, showing us a path to take. Now I call upon you to give us the strength to take that path, to give us the strength and the courage to follow you, to continue to be at work in the life of Bethany. So do those things, and we'll remember to give you the glory. Be with us as we worship. I was going to say, be with us in this next hour as we worship, but worship goes beyond that. Be with us as we celebrate who you are, as we celebrate your love for us, as we celebrate grace and mercy. Thank you for being who you are. Amen.
I know, I've been out of town.
The meeting ended on time. When you start,
Who doesn't live in this area, right?
I think, what do we say?
Go right. A what?
Yeah, I mean, this Friday. But I'm interested. I need to get. Oh, there it is. I've been using my reciprocating software. Oh, Lord. Okay.